Hey everybody, welcome back to When Harry Met Board Games. My name is Harry, and today we are going to be playing through the game Tiny Epic Quests. This is part of the Tiny Epic series designed by Scott Almes. It's a series of games where basically the philosophy behind it is taking these meaningful, substantial gaming experiences, but confining them or condensing them to a smaller physical product. All the games in the Tiny Epic series play differently. The mechanisms are different. The themes are different. What they all have in common is that goal to make these games portable, to make them games that you can take with you wherever you go, to make them cost effective. And so if you want to get a couple nice games, but you don't want to spend a pretty dollar for it, you can buy a few of the Tiny Epic games and you'll have a pretty good starter collection at a very economical rate. So let us start with the setup to this game. First of all, each player, by the way, let me just clarify, I will be going through a solo variant of this game. This game is typically a 2 to 4 player game in which each of the players involved are competing to accomplish the most quests throughout the game, which will give them points. In the solo variant, you are just trying to reach a certain threshold of points, again, by accomplishing the said quests. Each player has three little pieces, three little meeples, which represent different heroes that they are in control of all of them. And each player gets this player card here, which will clarify if during the night phase you are either adventuring or resting. And let me specify, this game goes through 5 different rounds, and each round consists of 2 different phases, a day phase and a night phase. And during the night phase, you get to adventure, or you get to rest and basically call it quits for the round. Each player also gets this adventure hero card, which tracks your power and your health and your magic skill, which are all 3 different currencies which are relevant to the game in different ways. Each player starts with a maximum health of 6 and a maximum power of 3. They also have their full power and health to start the game. Each player also starts on their magic track at the 0. They have no magic available to them at the beginning of the game. Also, we have these different items here, these legendary items and weapons. You have a sword, a shield, and a staff that each player is trying to acquire through the game by exploring different places, different temples, different spots on the board that will help them to acquire these weapons and these items. There's also other items that are unique. Each player has the ability to acquire the sword, shield, and staff. However, the rest of the items are unique, and there's only 1 copy of each in the game. We have the magic track here, which allows you to know what level the magic is on. The magic starts at 0 and it ranges all the way up from 0 to up to 3. And this determines how quickly you can learn spells. For example, your spells gives you a certain magical power as a hero. Well, you cannot even learn 1 spell unless the magic track makes it to the number 1. From that point forward, once it's at number 1, you can learn the spells sequentially, and there's 10 different spells to learn, which increase your power in various ways. Again, you have to learn them sequentially if the track is only at 1. Once the track moves up to 2, then you can skip a spell here and there and jump 2 spells ahead in your learning of spells. And again, if it's up to 3, the final range in the track, then it allows you to skip up to 3 spells in your learning of them. However, there is a warning. The warning is that as the magic track goes up, there are certain things that change, certain things that are to the player's detriment, especially when it comes to the rolling of dice. We're going to have this here on the 1 player side of the card. The card is double-sided. It has a side for 2 to 4 players, and it has a side for the solo variant here. So that is the magic track. Now we have the board to set up, the map. So basically, the first thing you do for your map is you separate your map tiles into 2 stacks. One is the regular map tiles, and the other is your 4 castle tiles. By the way, these tiles are double-sided in case you want to play a more nightmare difficult version, which is the nighttime version of this game. So you shuffle your regular tiles and you're going to make a cross or a T to start it up. Okay. So we have this right here. Okay. And then after that, you shuffle your castle tiles and put them on the edges or the intersections of the cross you just created right here. And then finally, you add the remaining regular tiles to the edges of the board to create your coastland. So these here represent the coastlands of your map. All right, there you go. There you go. Oh no, it's like this. I apologize. Right there. Okay, there you go. All right, so now I am the green player. So because I'm the green player, my heroes all start here on the green castle. Now we're going to begin with round one. And the first thing we do is we shuffle the quest cards and we draw 3. And there are 2 different types of quests. There are treasure quests and there are movement quests. Treasure quests are quests that involve you exploring a part of the map to acquire a certain treasure, and movement quests are basically quests that involve you being on a certain spot of the board to accomplish that quest. Now, the rule says that you need to have at least one of each of the 2 different types of quests, and we do have that. We have 2 treasure quests here available, and we have a movement quest. And now we will proceed with the first round. So each round in a solo player game, you're going to take these 5 different movement cards, which allow you to move on the board in different ways. Now, no matter how many players play, you're always going to get to move 4 times in a game. Usually in a multiplayer game, each player gets to decide one of the movements, and every player gets to choose whether or not they want to participate in that movement throughout the board or they want to remain idle. And there are some benefits, depending on where you are on the board, for remaining idle and not moving. So in a solo player game, what you do is you shuffle these 5 cards, you randomly choose 2, and then from those 2, you must make your choice. So we have the travel by griffin and we have the travel by raft. And the way the griffin works is the griffin allows you to move anywhere on the board, but in a diagonal motion, right? So I'm kind of limited because I'm in a spot where only 4 spots of the board are available to me diagonally. And then we have the raft. And the way the raft works is it lets you travel anywhere on the board from north to south, right? Each of these cards has a little river here, and basically it represents you flowing through that river on the raft. I'm going to choose one of these 2. And basically I'm trying to get these quests here. So we have this quest here, Discover the Lost Treasure here. And basically it tells me to complete the Desert Temple. And the Desert Temple is right here. Now the interesting thing is that the Desert Temple is one of 2 temples that I need to complete in order to acquire this special sword here, which is going to give me additional power. So I think this is killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I am going to choose the Griffin. I'm going to travel by Griffin and move one of my heroes diagonally. So I will move this hero over here to this space. And when you move a hero to a different map card, you got to choose one of the 2 sides. Basically, each map card is divided into 2 sides. And you could only really be on one side. So here I am. I'm going to be on the Forest Temple, which in a multiple player game, only 2 players can be on this temple space, and 1 hero per player can occupy this. So I'm going to go here to the starting spot of the temple. And I'll explain shortly how it is that I complete this temple. So that is the first action. Now I'm going to draw a second movement card here to again give me a choice. So now I can do it by raft again, which is north or south, or I can do it by ship, which allows me to move from any coast to any other coast. Now, I am not on a coast as we speak. I am actually right on the edge of a coast because these two tiles here represent the actual coast. Or I can move vertically on the river. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to move vertically on the river because I'm not on a coast, so I can't even choose that. And I want to eventually complete the ice temple, but the ice temple is over here. If I move my hero here, I can manipulate the situation to where because I know some of the other movement cards that are coming up, so where I can get to the explorer to the ice temple, so that little by little I can work on both completing the desert temple and the desert temple and the ice temple. Oh, well, I made a mistake. This is the forest temple, which is what I need to complete the sword, but it's not what I need to complete this quest. Okay, I'm fine. I don't regret that move. The desert temple is actually right here. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe I should go to the desert temple first, because these quests in a solo player game, they do get eliminated from the lineup, and that's a lost opportunity. Okay, so that's going to be that for now. Okay, so I'm going to choose, I've chosen the raft to move northward, and now I will add another card here, and I got to choose to move either by ship or by horse. Again, ship is not available. Horse allows me to move horizontally from east to west along the roads. So since that's the only option available for me, I am going to choose to move along horizontally through the horse ride, and I'm going to move over here to the ice temple. The chances of me completing this desert temple before the end of this round is very unlikely, and that's exactly it. At the end of this round, if the rightmost quest has been uncompleted, it will go away. So I'm just gonna stay here on the ice temple at the start of the ice temple, and I'm trying to accomplish completing both the forest temple and the ice temple, which will unlock this sword for me. Okay, so finally I will add this fifth card to, and by the way, this is all the day phase. Right after this, there is a night phase. I've added movement by foot. And the way movement by foot works is I can move in any direction, horizontally, vertically, and diagonally. However, it's to an adjacent spot, just one spot away. So now I got to choose where I want to go. Oh, very important. Oof, I forgot a huge thing. This map consists of different portals here where you need to put goblins. So here we go. We put goblins here. We put a goblin here. We put a goblin there. These goblins are little bad guys that you need to deal with, and they actually prevent and slow down movement. Okay, there you go. So I believe I've covered all the portals there, have their goblins on them. Okay, so I will choose to move by foot because, again, I don't have the option of moving by ship because I am not on a coastland. So instead, I'm going to try to, well, I've got this quest here that if I have two heroes on the center map card, right, I could do that. I'm going to put two heroes on the center map card. So let's see. I'm going to go to the center here because I can move diagonally. And instead of being on the Explore the Forest Temple, I'm going to be on the Learn the Spell spot of this board. And by the way, this spot of the board can only have, well, it can have one of each of the four potential players in the game can occupy that space. All right, so I chose by foot. That's my last movement action for the day phase. And because I have two players in the center map, I've accomplished this this quest here, which is the Share Ancient Knowledge quest. I have 2 heroes on the center map. I get to advance my spell token 1 in my spell library. So here on my spell library, I get to advance it 1, which is amazing because normally I wouldn't be able to do that because, again, the magic track has not even made it to the number 1 level. Now I slide all the remaining quests towards the right and I replace it with a new quest. And here I have a second quest that tells me to complete the desert tile. Now all 3 of these are treasure quests. None of these are movement quests. So according to the rules, gotta discard this and replace this so that I could have a movement quest now available, because there has to always be at least 1 of each type, and that is now the case. So we are done with the movement phase of the game, the day phase of this game. I put all my completed quests right here under my player card, and now we move on to the dice phase. And the dice phase is really a push your luck kind of thing. What you do is you grab the 5 dice that the game comes with, and I just drop one of the 5 dice. Where did that go? Right here. All right. So you grab the 5 dice right here, and you roll them. And basically, you're trying to accomplish certain things before you become exhausted. And one of the ways you become exhausted is by taking damage. Remember, your health starts at 6. If your health ever goes to 0, then basically you've become defeated, you've become exhausted, and all your players must return back to the castle. And whatever objectives they were trying to accomplish, even if they were partially accomplished, kind of lose their progress, and you have to start from scratch in a future turn. So again, there's that press your luck element of knowing how far you want to go, when is enough, when is the risk worth it, when do the ends justify the means. So I have my card here showing the adventure side, because I'm definitely starting with adventure. So I'm rolling the dice here, and you do resolve these dice in a specific order. So the first thing you look for are all the goblins that you rolled. So this is the one and only goblin that I rolled. And the way it works is for each goblin, each player takes 1 damage. Now, because I'm playing solo and because the magic track is at 0, it actually allows you to, while the magic track is at 0, to ignore the first goblin that you roll. So I ignore that. No damage has been caused to me. The next thing you do is you look for power. And I rolled 2 power. So normally this would allow my power to increase by a total of 2. However, I don't have any power to gain because I'm already at 3, which currently is the maximum amount of power that I have. Now, well, maximum power equals 3 plus 1 for each magic spell you learned, I guess. So I guess I do have maximum power of 4 now because I did learn 1 spell. So as a matter of fact, I can use one of these, and I will use one of these to increase my power to 4. Okay, then the next thing you do is you look for any magic mushrooms, which there aren't any. And then finally, you look for these scrolls and these torches, which help you in different respective temples. This scroll, for example, would have helped me at the desert temple, but I'm not there. But this torch helps me at any of these 2 temples that I'm at, the ice temple or the forest temple. Now I'm trying to get these in a specific order in order to acquire or unlock this sword. I need to get the forest temple first. So I'm gonna use this torch to advance myself on the first space out of 4 to complete the forest temple. And to advance to that first space, I need exactly 1 torch, and that's exactly what I have. So I will advance to the first space. Now that I am done with each of these dice, resolving each of these dice, I have to decide whether or not I want to continue adventuring or whether or not I want to rest and save my progress for a future round. Well, nothing bad happened to me, so I am going to choose to go again. So here we go. All right, so again, you start first with the goblins. I rolled 2 goblins. Because the magic track is at 0, I ignore the first one. However, I cannot ignore the second one, so I do take 1 damage to my health, and I am down now to 5. Again, I rolled 1 power, but I am at my maximum power of 4, so I am done as far as that is concerned. And then finally, we got the mushrooms. There are no mushrooms. And again, I rolled exactly 1 scroll and 1 torch. And again, I will use that torch to advance to the second spot on the Explore the Forest Temple spot, the Explore the Forest Temple track, which again requires only 1 torch. And I am done. And I am going to choose to not rest, but to continue. So I will roll these dice again. Here we go. There was no goblins, so there is no damage I'll be taking. 2 power. These are irrelevant to me. I rolled a mushroom, so I will advance 1 spot in the round track, in the magic track. I'm still at level 0 of magic, so none of these other benefits or consequences have been triggered. And again, I rolled exactly, I keep on, I'm consistent if nothing else. I rolled 1 scroll and 1 torch. The scroll is irrelevant to me, and the torch, I have 1. But I need a 2 to advance in the Forest Temple, or I could use that 1 to advance in the Ice Temple, and that's exactly what I am going to do. As a matter of fact, that's not what I'm going to do, because I do have the option. You do have the option to push forward, as the rulebook says, and spend 2 power to add another torch or scroll to your total. So I will spend 2 power, put myself all the way from 4 down to 2, and I will add a second torch, which allows me to move to the 3rd space on the Explore the Forest Temple track. And now again, I will decide to continue going. And we roll the dice again. All right, I rolled 1 goblin. The magic track is still at level 0, so I ignore it. I rolled 2 power, and now, because I'm down to 2 power, I can advance back up to 4, and that's what I will do. Then I rolled 2 mushrooms. This is a little scary here, because now I advance, and I'm just 1 spot away to entering level 1, which again has some consequences that come with it. All right, and because I didn't make any further progress in my quest, I'm going to continue rolling the dice. Here we go. All right, so I rolled no goblins. I rolled 1 power, but I'm at maximum power. I rolled no mushrooms. Now I will look at this. I rolled 2 torches and 1 scroll. So I'm going to use these 2 torches here to unlock the, to complete the track of the Explore the Forest Temple. So I have officially explored the Forest Temple, which is an incredible feat, an incredible accomplishment. I'm halfway to unlocking this sword. I also rolled a green one, a green little fist symbol, and this is the first time I've rolled this. And what this represents is it causes 1 damage to all goblins that you share on the map tile. If you're on their map tile, then you can cause damage to that goblin. Unfortunately for me, none of my 3 heroes are on a map tile with the goblin, right? So, and not only do you have to be on the tile with the goblin, you have to be on the side of the tile that has the goblin on it. So I am done with that, and I will press forward and I will try to continue because I want to explore this ice temple. So here we go. All right. So again, I rolled 2 goblins. I ignore the first one, but I take 1 damage for the second one, and it lowers my health down to 4. I got no power, but I did roll another mushroom, so I advanced myself on the magic track, and now I'm finally at level 1. And going forward, now that I'm on level 1, first of all, not only does that let me learn spells sequentially, but it also affects the way the goblins work. So instead of ignoring the first goblin that's rolled, I ignore the second goblin that's rolled. The first goblin still hits me, but if a second goblin is rolled, I get to ignore it, and every other goblin afterward, I cannot ignore. Also, because I'm on level 1 of magic, I have to ignore the first power I roll on a die. Every other power afterward is relevant, and I do accrue. So we're done with the mushrooms. Now we move forward to the torches. And again, I rolled 1 torch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that 1 torch to advance on the ice temple to the first spot on the track. And again, I rolled a green punch, which again is irrelevant because I am not on a space with a goblin. All right, so here we go. So, all right, I rolled again. I cannot ignore the first goblin anymore, so that causes me damage. I am down to 3 health. I have 2 power here, which becomes irrelevant to me because I already have a maximum of 4. I have a mushroom here, which again advances the magic track closer to level 0, level 2, I should say. And then again, a green punch, which is irrelevant. But you know what? I'm feeling risky and I'm going to keep on going. I am not going to rest. Now, technically, I have not actually completed this temple until I rest. So it's not only being the first player to make it to the final spot on the track, you have to also be the first player to rest upon making it to that track. Which again, because I'm playing solo, I don't feel the tension of another player doing it before me. So I'm not worried about that. However, I am at risk because I'm at 3 health and I'm very close to being forced to rest because I'll have exhausted myself. So I'm going to roll these dice. No goblins, thankfully. But terribly, I rolled 1 power, which is irrelevant. Terribly, I rolled 3 magic mushrooms. So I'll advance 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. Not only am I at level 2 now, but I'm a 1 spot away from level 3. And the way things work with level 2 is that I ignore, well, basically, all goblins cause me damage, and all powers are ignored. So no matter how much power I roll, I am done. I cannot acquire any more power. And again, finally, I rolled another green punch. It's good to have some of your heroes diversified. From a strategic perspective, if you could have a hero at a temple, a hero at a goblin portal, and a hero at a learn a spell space, that is ideal because then you could do a little bit of everything during your night phase. I kind of didn't do that. I did not optimize. But I'm here. As a matter of fact, I just forgot that I'm at the learn the spell phase, and I'm now at magic track number 2. So let's see. How does this work? For each spell, yeah, okay. So during the night phase, you know this was a spell book which you wish to learn the magic. Okay, so because I am at level 2 of magic, I could actually skip 2 levels up to I'm already at the first spell that I've learned, and this symbol here, this little spider, is actually the 3rd one. So I can skip 2 spaces and go all the way up to here. Which, by the way, now that I have 3, I'm at level 3 of the spell book. My maximum power has gone up from 3 all the way to 6. So I can accrue more power now. Okay, great, wonderful. So I diversify myself a little bit there. All right, so I'm going to keep on pressing forward. Let's see. Okay, here we go. I got 2 goblins, which is terrible news. So I'm down to 1 health. And I have 2 power, which again is irrelevant because we're at the 2nd level of the magic track, which all powers are irrelevant to me. But I did get 1 torch, which I will use to advance here on the track. All right, great. Now, let us keep on going. I am dangerously close to dying, but at this point, you know what? I don't know. At this point, I'm going to do what's the right thing to do. I am going to rest, which means I will have accomplished completing the forest temple for whatever that is worth. So because of that, I get to advance this sword on the track to show that I've passed the forest temple and that the only thing that's left for me to do is to complete the ice temple in the future in order to unlock this weapon. Now, what happens is, if there were any undefeated goblins, or defeated goblins, I should say, you would refill those spaces with these tokens, which, by the way, not only do the goblins add to your maximum health, because your maximum health is 6 plus the number of goblins you've defeated, but they also count towards your endgame scoring. When you're playing solo, a certain amount of goblins scores points for you exponentially, as well as the amount of quests that you complete. Now, at the end of each night phase, at the end of each round, not only do you eliminate the rightmost quest and get rid of it and replace it, slide everything down, but you also need to choose 3 of your non-hostile. You got the green here on the goblins represent their whether they're hostile or not. you got to flip 3 of these non-hostile goblins to their red sides. And you get to choose which 3. So basically, which 3 do not affect you or you're least worried about. Now, mind you, if you're ever trying to move and you're trying to move through a place, a map tile, to get to another map tile, and the tile you're trying to move through has a hostile or red goblin on it, you need to spend 1 power in order to be able to move past it. And if you don't have the power, then you just can't move through a hostile goblin and you must encounter it, right? And the interesting way that the combat works against the goblins, which I showed that you need to roll these green fisted dice in order to deal them 1 damage, is you rotate them. As soon as you make it to a spot with a goblin, you flip over the tile from a red to a green, and you rotate them clockwise until they make it all the way for each damage you inflict. You rotate it clockwise until they make it all the way to this spot here with a little red skull on the top, and that signifies that the goblin's defeated and they go into your possession, right? And they count towards points for you at the end of the game, and they again affect your maximum health possibilities. So that's the way that defeating goblins work. Now you continue doing these same series of actions. You go through your day phase, you choose your 4 movements, you try to make it to different spots on the board, maybe see if they line up with some of the movement quests that you're trying to accomplish and grab those cards, or maybe trying to get to the specific spots of the board that you're trying to manipulate, the next spell you're trying to learn, maybe defeating a goblin to get some points, and also which temples you're trying to explore and complete, not only to accomplish certain quests that are on the lineup that give you specific items, but also again to unlock the legendary items on your player card sequentially in the order that they're presented here on this card. You basically repeat the motions, go through the night phase of trying to learn your spells, trying to defeat your goblins, trying to explore these temples by moving through the tracks 1 space at a time, rolling the necessary torches and the necessary scrolls. And you do this for 5 rounds until the end of the game, and then you tally up your final score. Again, the amount of quests that you complete add points to you exponentially, and the amount of goblins that you've defeated also add points to you exponentially. It's a fun little lighthearted fantasy themed game. Not too heavy, not too immersive in that fantasy theme. It's more of a puzzle of you trying to figure things out, trying to manipulate the board, the spatial orientation of the board, trying to make it to certain spots, figure out how you can use the different movement cards to your best ability and optimize your options. Also, the press your luck gives you the opportunity to make some really tough decisions. If you're feeling daredevil-y, if you're feeling gutsy, you keep on pushing forward. If you don't want to take the risk, again, with a solo game, there's less to lose, so you might not mind resting prematurely. In a multiple player game, it might be a little bit of a tougher decision, as you know that when you rest, you leave certain opportunities open to your opponents. But if you don't rest, then you have to start from scratch because you've exhausted yourself, and again, you leave the door open for your opponents. Fun little game. Doesn't take too much time, but it's not quite a filler either, but it definitely has a small size. It's a compact, small presentation of a game. Doesn't take up too much table space, and again, doesn't take up much shelf space. This is Tiny Epic Quest. If you're interested, check it out. And thank you so much for joining us in this playthrough of Tiny Epic Quest. Thank you so much for joining us here at When Harry Met Board Games. My name is Harry. Please like this video and subscribe if you're interested in our content. Take care. Bye-bye.